There is a certain kind of mind that doesn't walk through life in straight lines. It moves more like someone wandering through a vast library after closing time. Every aisle is tempting. Every door is half open. And somewhere in the chest there is a quiet, almost embarrassing thought. One lifetime is not enough for everything that calls me. Evidence of this mind is easy to see. The browser has a whole galaxy of tabs open at once. A documentary about ancient civilizations, a deep dive on trauma healing, a tutorial on sound design, a thread about mushrooms, a video about black holes, a course on how to write a novel, and a random recipe for the perfect cinnamon roll. The room looks the same. A guitar leaning in the corner, a camera on the shelf, a half-filled sketchbook on the desk, a yoga mat rolled nearby, a pile of books about psychology, marketing, spirituality, coding, gardening, all carrying bookmarks that somehow stopped around the first third. Each object is the fossil of an obsession. There was a moment when that guitar meant, I'm really going to learn now. That camera meant, this time the YouTube channel will actually happen. That course login meant, this is the path, I can feel it. And then, somewhere between chapter 3 and chapter 4, the energy moved. Something else in the universe lit up, and attention followed it. After enough cycles like this, a painful story begins to form. I never finish anything. I can't stick with things. I must be scattered. Maybe there's something wrong inside that everyone else didn't get wrong. The world does not help. The dominant story of success is built for a different kind of mind, the specialist. The person who chooses one thing and stays. The surgeon who lives inside anatomy. The engineer who breathes structures. The researcher who studies one question for 30 years. Society knows what to do with these people. Their lives fit into one sentence. They look serious. They look stable. But not every mind is built to be a deep well in one place. Some minds refuse the narrow hallway. Not because they are weak, but because they are wired for a wider job. These are not well diggers. These are pattern weavers. A pattern weaver mind doesn't get most excited by going deeper and deeper into one narrow tunnel. It gets most excited by walking across many fields and noticing that something from one field answers a problem in another. Instead of living as a drill, this mind lives as a loom. Every time a new interest appears, it adds another thread to the loom. A thread from psychology, a thread from design, a thread from spirituality, a thread from coding, a thread from music, a thread from marketing, a thread from biology or mythology or architecture or cooking. None of these threads is very long. None of them, alone, looks like enough to build a clear professional identity. So the mind looks at its own collection and calls it a mess. But what if the mess is not junk on the floor, but raw material on the table? What if this mind was never meant to be a specialist at all, and that is not a failure, just a different assignment? Think of it this way. Specialists dig wells. They pick one patch of land and go down and down until they reach layers most people will never see. The world absolutely needs people like this. No one wants a heart surgeon who also casually does 20 other things on the side. Depth has a sacred place. But while the specialist is digging, the pattern weaver is walking. They cross the landscape and visit many wells. They listen to the geologist, to the therapist, to the musician, to the data scientist, to the mystic. They collect a little water from here, a handful of soil from there, a tool from somewhere else, a story from another place. Their gift is not depth in a single pit. Their gift is seeing the whole field. Innovation almost never comes from a single well getting 10 centimeters deeper. It comes when someone suddenly says, wait, what if we take this thing from over there and combine it with that thing over here? That sentence, that leap, is the natural language of a pattern weaver mind. Look at many of the breakthroughs that shaped life today, and this pattern appears again and again. Someone who studied art and later changed computer interfaces forever. Someone who loved storytelling and later revolutionized education. Someone who started in biology and ended up building tools for business. Their CVs look messy by old standards, but perfectly logical in hindsight. They were collecting threads for years without knowing what tapestry they were weaving. This is how a pattern weaver mind operates daily. It grabs threads long before it knows what they are for. The frustrating part is the timing. The person can't see the full tapestry while it's being woven. When standing very close to the loom, all that's visible are fragments, a bit of blue, a bit of gold, a bit of dark, a bit of bright. It looks chaotic. It looks like one more thing that will never become anything. From a little distance, it begins to look like design. The pain is that almost nobody teaches this. As children, many pattern weavers are told the same thing. What do you want to be when you grow up? In the singular. Not what are all the things that light your soul, but which one will you choose? School rewards staying inside one subject. Career books show paths like train tracks. Once on, you stay. So a mind that naturally moves like a web spends years trying to flatten itself into a line. It chooses one identity. I will be a psychologist. Or I will be a designer. Or I will be a programmer. Or I will be a therapist. It tries. It invests. It tells itself, this time, this is it. And then, one day, the same old feeling appears. Something else comes alive. Another thread asks to be picked up. Another field calls from the distance. The old guilt returns. I'm doing it again. I'm failing again at staying. At some point, many ask a heavy question. Do I just have a broken attention span? Is this ADHD? Is this some defect? Sometimes, part of the answer really does involve the nervous system, and real support can help. But beneath that, there is often a separate truth. A mind that is unusually good at crossing boundaries and unusually bad at staying in a single lane forever. That ability to cross boundaries is not a symptom. It is the core gift. The era the world is moving into quietly confirms it. The industrial age needed humans to specialize, to repeat, to become predictable parts inside predictable systems. The information age pushed this further, rewarding ever narrower expertise. But the age that is emerging now is different. Technology, especially artificial intelligence, is becoming incredibly good at deep, narrow tasks. It can memorize more, analyze faster, and calculate deeper within a single domain than any human ever will. What it cannot do, at least not in a truly human way, is feel context and meaning across domains. It does not sit in the shower thinking, the way trees talk underground is the same pattern as this social network. It does not watch a movie and suddenly understand a piece of trauma that explains a business problem. It does not feel the emotional weight of combining spirituality and neuroscience in a way that respects both. That weaving belongs to human minds, especially the ones that have refused to stay in one corner. The biggest challenges on the planet right now do not live in clean boxes. Mental health, climate, politics, economics, spirituality, technology, they overlap in messy ways. A pure specialist can see one slice of the problem very deeply. That is precious. But someone needs to see how the slices affect each other, how a solution in one area creates consequences in another, how to communicate technical truth in human language, how to translate cold data into warm action. Pattern weavers are built for that. So what does this mean for the person who stands in a room full of half-finished projects and feels like a failure? First, there is a reframing. Those unfinished attempts can be seen differently. Instead of calling them abandoned, they can be called harvested. The guitar was not a failed career. It was 3 threads, a sense of rhythm, an understanding of practice, an ear for pattern. The photography phase was not a waste. It was a layer of sensitivity to light, composition, and timing, which might later appear in design, content, or therapy sessions. The coding sprint was not just a quit. It was some logic and structure that now lives quietly behind how problems are solved. Pattern weavers rarely use an entire field. They borrow pieces. Those pieces don't disappear just because a course wasn't completed. Second, this kind of mind needs to be allowed to stop fighting itself. Instead of declaring war on curiosity, trying to suppress it, shame it, starve it, it can be given containers. The goal is not to force the loom to become a drill. The goal is to help the loom weave more clearly. One container can be something like a curiosity sprint. Rather than promising, I will master this new thing forever, the agreement can be, for the next 3 or 4 weeks, this one topic gets deliberate attention, with one small, concrete outcome at the end. One simple song, one basic app, one mini garden, one tiny story, not a life commitment, a sprint. At the end, there is a moment of choice. Do I feel called to extend this sprint and go deeper now? Or do I officially place this thread on the loom and move on? Either choice is a completion. There is no abandonment. There is only, this was the right size for this season. Another container is the idea ledger. Pattern weaver minds generate connections at awkward times. in the shower, on the bus, mid-conversation. If they are not captured, they create mental noise. Writing them down, not as urgent tasks, but as interesting sparks, tells the mind, this is safe. It is not going to be lost. Adding one simple question under each spark, what does this remind me of? Invites the deepest gift of this mind to come online in a gentle, structured way. It trains the brain to look for patterns on purpose, instead of only in overwhelming bursts. A third container is the story told about the past. Many pattern weavers describe their life as a list of jobs they couldn't stick with. I was a barista, then a designer, then I tried coding, then I did marketing, then I left. That narrative erases the pattern. An alternate way is to look for the themes that repeat across all those roles. Maybe the theme is explaining complex things simply. Maybe it is creating safe emotional spaces. Maybe it is optimizing systems quietly in the background. Maybe it is turning chaos into clear structure. Once those themes are seen, the past stops feeling like random jumping and starts feeling like training in different rooms of the same house. Through all of this, one thing matters most: compassion for the way this mind moves. The old saying, "Jack of all trades, master of none," was never meant as a curse, and the full version is telling. Jack of all trades, master of none, but oftentimes better than master of one. A pattern weaver goes even further, not a jack of trades, but a master of connections. This kind of mastery doesn't show off in the same way. It appears in moments when someone says, "I never thought of it like that," after a metaphor connects two worlds. It appears when a team stuck in their own jargon suddenly understands themselves because someone replaced technical concepts with images from nature. It appears when a community project, a business, a healing method, or a piece of art emerges that clearly carries DNA from 5 different fields at once. If this mind has been attacking itself for years, this recognition can feel like a quiet homecoming. Not a loud, "I have finally arrived," but a softer, deeper, "Oh, that's what I am. That's why I never fit into one box. I wasn't meant to." From here, the question shifts from how do I fix myself to what is my tapestry asking to become? With all the threads already collected, the books, the hobbies, the jobs, the obsessions, what is the larger pattern that wants to emerge? Not what will impress people, not what looks good on paper, but what makes sense when all the parts of this mind are allowed to sit at the same table. The so-called graveyard of abandoned hobbies can then be visited with different eyes. Not as a tomb, but as soil. Every project that died, they're decomposed into nutrients for something else. Every failed attempt softened a perfectionism, humbled an ego, taught a limit, added a skill, expanded a vocabulary. Standing in that graveyard, the question is no longer, "Why did I quit?" It becomes, "What did this give me that I still carry?" There will still be days of doubt. Days when someone with a straight-line career triggers old shame. Days when discipline is hard. Days when the nervous system is tired. A pattern weaver is not a superhero. It is just a different configuration of attention and curiosity. But on those days, it helps to remember, there is a reason this mind never died completely, even when trying very hard to become something else. There is a reason curiosity survived all the guilt. It is trying to build bridges in a world that desperately needs bridges. If this way of seeing the too many interests mind felt uncannily accurate, that is not an accident. It means the pattern weaver inside recognized itself. It means the loom has been waiting for a long time to be called by its true name. Subscribing keeps this kind of deep, calm guidance close for the days when old voices say, "Stop jumping, be normal, pick one thing forever." Liking this video helps it quietly find others who are sitting in rooms full of half-finished projects and quietly wondering if they are broken. Sharing it with someone whose curiosity scares them might give them the language they've been missing for years. And in the comments, simply naming 2 completely different interests that somehow live together in one life can be the first visible thread in a tapestry that is finally, patiently, ready to be woven on purpose.